Monday, December 30th, 2024. Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm Alan, your host. With horse racing today, we're going to talk about some of the tracks to watch for on this Monday. Happy Monday, everybody, kicking off the holiday New Year's week. Let's make it a great start to the week. And we're also going to be addressing a comment on a video from a viewer, R. Stefani, who talked about my big winning selections, huge winning selections at Turfway Park. So I'm going to address that comment and take a look at wagering strategy a little bit. But first, coffee. Today's coffee is a good one. Excellent. Excellent. Today's coffee, Tim Hortons coffee. They call it Canada's best coffee, right? And my first experience with Tim Hortons coffee was on a cruise to Nova Scotia, and where I had the Tim Hortons coffee, more specifically, was in Halifax, and it was just fantastic. They're all over the place up in Canada, and you can't go wrong with this stuff. The original blend, Tim Hortons. And this is, I had to ground this. It comes in the bean. I went for the full effect with the bean and I ground it, and it's just great. Horse racing today. Got some tracks going on. First, I want to address the email, or more a comment from a viewer on my Turfway Park selections, which were through the roof. Through the roof the other night on Saturday night selections. So we're going to talk about that. And during those selections, we delivered every rolling exotic through the first five. We had a few exactas in there, the pick 4 and the pick 5, and all the doubles. But let's talk about this, and I want to address this. I think this is good for everybody to hear because it brings wagering strategy into play as well. So let's address it. Fair enough, and I'm glad some of you were in on these picks. So let me bring this up here. We'll get right to it. Okay. All right. Okay, and this is from R. Stefani. He talks about the wagering selections here about Turfway Park. So let's go. Excellent, and thanks for responding with some excellent observations, R. Stefani. Okay, Al, I'm watching your video. I was under the impression you gave out these winners ice cold, just reviewed your selections from last night from the original video. And to be fair, number one, now these are some points, I guess, bullet points. The 7 was your third selection in the second. Okay. Now, I gave out selections for all 5 of these races. I gave out selections for all the races, but we're addressing the front 5 here where all the damage was done. And what I do when I give out my selections on my live streaming selection shows, I give you my top 3 contenders for all the races. And once in a while, if the race is very contentious, I'll go 4 deep to give you something to work with, who I like, who I'll be considering, especially for the contenders for the win and also for the multi-race exotics. Okay. So he goes, to be fair, the 7 was your third selection in race 2. Now, during these 5-race sequence, I went, if you want to talk about selections, I gave 3 selections, top selections in the first race, 3 in the second, 4 in the third and the fourth, which looked really dicey. And in the fifth, I gave 3 again. So 3 times I gave 3 selections. A couple of times I gave 4. On almost all my shows, the vast majority of the time, I only give 3 selections and for each race. Once in a while, I'll give 4, but Turfway Park, you know how it goes over there. They have the gigantic fields, huge payouts. Okay, so the 7 was your third selection in the selection in race 2. The 11 was your third selection in race 3. The 5 was your top selection in race 4. 5 was your top selection in race 3. Okay. Okay, he's going race by race. 1, the 7 was your third selection. Race 2, the 11 was your third selection. 3 was your top selection. Excellent job. Exclamation point. Thank you. That horse came in. It was over, I believe it was a $60 horse or whatever. It was a huge hit. No, it might have been a $44 winner, whatever. It was a big hit, and that was my top choice. And then we go on to the 4th race. The 7 was your second selection, and the 13 in the 5th leg was your third selection. Having said that, this is still an excellent job by you. The early pick 5 paid phone numbers. Nicely done, Al. Thank you very much, R. Stefani. So let's address that here. Now, we'll go right to the top here. I was under the impression that you gave these out ice cold. Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute, the ice cold part. Turfway Park, up front, I always mention that my bread and butter plays are the rolling exotics. We're going to talk about the cost of these plays if you're going to play these and what the payouts are going to be. So just bear this in mind when we're talking about Turfway Park and these selections and my style of play. What did it produce there during these selections? During these course of the 5 races, what we delivered here, exactas, we had the exactas in 3 of the 5. We had the winning selections in the daily doubles. Of course, all 4, since we had the winner in all of them from the selections, we had 4 doubles. Now I'm going to give the prices for the $1 and why and what this would cost you to play these races. The 50-cent pick 3s, we had the 3 of those. We had the pick 4 and the pick 5. Okay. So addressing these, playing the races. Now, this is not just Turfway Park, but especially this goes for Turfway Park. Show me somebody that plays these races and just especially a winning player who just plays ice cold plays. Okay, I'm going to play the daily double. I'll give you 1 horse in one race and 1 horse in the other race. Or I'm going to play the pick 3 and I'm just going to play these 3 horses. That's it. Are you going to try that? You're going to try that at Turfway Park. Watch the analysts on TV when they give you their pick 3s or pick 4s. Sometimes they go 6, 7 deep in one leg, 2 in another, sometimes 4 in another, and then maybe they'll have 1 single in there. So at Turfway Park, any track, there's boxing involved because you can get a longer one in there on top. And when I give out my selections, all of these I think have a shot to win, okay? And also be there for the exotics, more specifically the rolling exotics, because that's my wagers when I usually play, and I give that out up front. I play some exactas and tries too, but when I look for my spots to use these selections in doubles most often, pick 3s second most often, and sometimes the pick 4 and the pick 5. So I had these there. All of them were there, getting it done in all of these races. And remember, there were 3 exactas from these. So what does it cost? What would it have cost? And I did reply, but I'll reply here. But I'll reply here again here on the video. And I'll keep this short and sweet. So, and I think you're going to see horse racing a bit of a different way, especially when it comes to my selections and the accuracy that I provide here, putting the work and the full handicapping into all of these cards. Okay, well, let's start with the exactas. How much would it have cost to have played all 5 exactas, considering the number of horses I used in each leg for the first 5? So 3 in the first leg, 4 in the second, 4 in the third, and 3 in the 3 times 3 is 9 times 4 is 36. Okay, 3 times 3 times 4 times 4 times 3. So twice I went 4 deep here. 3 times I went 3 deep. Now, what would it have cost to play all of these exactas for $2? Here's what it would have run you. It would have run you $84 to play all 5 of these exactas for $2. Exacta boxes, $84. And how much would you have got back in return for that $84 investment? You would have got back $1,509.54 from the 3 exactas. Yeah, we had one of the exactas that was the Bonanza, $1,379.52. And that's a leg where I only gave 3 selections. So that would have been one of your $12 exacted hit for over $1,300. The other exactas paid $86.52. So $86.52. So you still would have made over 60 on that. You would have made about 20 on the other one, which paid $43.50 and $13.79. So your box is for $84. You get back $1,509. Not a bad investment, right? For those plays that day, $84 to get back make over $1,400. So you're doing damn good there. Now, when you think about that $84, think about the players. Now, you big players out there, that insist on playing only to win. I only play to win. I grind it out. So I'll put $200 on this horse to win, or even $50, or maybe I'll talk about the $100 player. I'm betting 100 on number 8 to win. Turfway Park. Hello, my friend. Your chances of winning that race, one horse, especially at Turfway Park, and you can go to other tracks too, to a vast degree. That's a quick 100 out the window. Now, these are playing the exacta for that $100, for that $100 losing bet or $50 losing bet. Okay, on to the next race. I lost $50. For $85, you're in play for 4 races here, and you get back $1,509. Okay, that's talking about this card, addressing that. What about the pick 3s? So that maybe you want to think about that. And that's playing the exactas for $2. Let's talk about the daily doubles, the 4 daily doubles. How much would it have cost to play the 4 daily doubles? Okay. You rang that up. So it's just about 50. So 3 times, okay, let me just bring this up a second. The 4 daily doubles. It would have cost you $72. $72 outlay. Just looking at these doubles here for a second. Okay, you would have the first daily double would have cost you $9, a 3x3 play. Three by 4. Okay, your daily doubles would have run you $49 total. $9 for the first daily double, $12 for the second daily double, playing it for $1, $16 for the third and a 4x4 play, and a 4x3 play, another $12. That's $49 laid out. And you got back the winning totals on that. You would have made for $49, you would have got back $468.07. So that's $50. You got your $50 win play, or you want to mess around with an exacta, a couple of exactas, or however you play it. Now I'm talking about the minimum here, the power of the return. Say you just lost 50 on a win play like that on this night with my selections. You bet the daily doubles, the 4 of them, 1 through 5, covering races 1 through 5, for a total of $49 to make back a $419 profit, basically. So that covers the daily doubles. using them for rolling exotics, which I talk about as my best plays. Keep that in mind. Again, I can't stress this strongly enough. These these selections I give out for multiple tracks a day, my power plays personally as a player, I'm giving these selections in mind that they not only can they hit the exactas, but the way I play the races, rolling exotics is my creme de la creme, my specialty. So keep that in mind when you're playing these. Now here, these doubles, $49 turned back $468. What about the 3 pick threes we hit? We hit 3 pick threes there. What would it have cost to play those 3 pick 3 plays using all my selections? You know how much it would have cost you? For 50 cents, you could play the 50 cents for pick threes for 50 cents. At Turfway especially, take advantage of that, considering the payouts and the races, how challenging those races are, and horses invading all over. You're going to spread a little bit deep. And think about the Powerball players, okay? The Powerball players out there, they're out there, and do they just play 5, pick 6 numbers and leave it at that? Or do they spread? Some of them bet 50, put $50 in. They don't just depend on one number. That's an extreme example, but it kind of plays into this. You gotta add a little something there. Look at anybody. People are the good players, the winning players. They're not playing ice cold. Look at the whales who play, and you could kind of be a semi-whale at a place like this with 50 cents. They got these pick threes, pick fours you could play for 50 cents. You could spread a little bit. Everybody does if they know what they're doing. They don't just go one horse race by race. So to say, okay, I was under the impression you got them cold. Whether they were cold or not, they were all there in everyone. And I'll ask you this. Can you do it? Can you find somebody else that put the selections out there in advance of the races, hours in advance, whatever, like I do, and after scratches, and still plenty of time before the first race? Show me one person, if you can. I'd love to see it, that put those selections out there, made them available, and had all 5 winners within their selections from races 1 through 5. Give me just one that did it. I did, okay? It was there. So we're talking about it and addressing this thing. Okay, addressing this comment. So $66 to play every pick 3. And you know how much you got back for that $66? Spreading around, using 3 horses in some legs and 4 in 2 others, or whatever. For $66, you got back $2,485.73. And the prices on those 350-cent pick threes, $1,122.93, $328.40, and $1,034.40 for a grand salami of $2,485 for a mere $66 layout. And I've seen a lot of people on my shows, my handicapping shows, where I'm out there live, and they put their selections out there, and they're saying they're betting $100 here, $50 there on a single race, on a single play, whether it be an exacta or whatever. Sometimes they hit, sometimes more often, just like most horse players, not every race is going to be right. They drop a quick $50, a quick $100. Okay, on to the next race. Well, for $66 here, you got back $2,485. So basically, you made $2,419 on your $66 on those selections. Just giving you an example here of what those selections did, the damage we did at Turfway Park. What about the 50-cent pick 4, which we also had? And that was a play of the play was 3 times if you use all the selections. Now, you can structure tickets too, right? You can make some of them plays worth $1, and with the ABC Stephen Crist method, whoever invented it, but Stephen Crist, excellent book. He talks about it in his racing book, Exotic Wagering. you could break this up into ABC tickets and weight them and do it a different way, and something possibly hit the damn thing more than once. But anyway, if you just went cold and just used all the selections I had in 3x4 by 4 by 3, that pick four would have paid, would have cost you $72. $72. It's 144 divided by 2 at 50 cents. You got $72. And you know how much you got back for that $72? You got back $15,534. I'm not even going to talk about the cents there. $15,534. So you basically got back 15,400 and 15,000 minus 72, 62. 15,400 and $34 minus your 72. Wow. Okay. So that's a hell of a profit, right? $15,000 on a $72 bet. Hey, I lost $100. On to the next race. It's okay. Well, you know what? I bet $72 earlier, and it covered all 5 races and all 4 races, and it cost me $72, and I made $15,000. Just giving you a hypothetic there, what the 72 could have done versus the 100. It'd have been in play, 15,000 and change, 15,000 in over 500 back on your $72 wager. Now let's save the best for last, the pick 5. In a nutshell, a 3x3 by 4 by 4 by 3 play that would run $416, but cut that in half. That's $208. Would cost you $208 to play the pick 5. If you're doing that, if you're that type of player, most players aren't. The whales are no problem. They'll probably put thousands into this pick, 1,000 into this damn pick 5, and spread here and there to get done what would have got done with my selections for a mere $208. If you're that type, if you're a bigger player, that's a drop in the bucket, $208. Okay, for you players, the big players out there with these selections, for $208, you get back $136,560. $136,560. Total outlay for every single one of these plays with my top 5 selections, with my top selections for all 5 races, 3 times 3 selections, twice 4. Total outlay $479 to get back $156,556. $156,556 from 479. Even if you laid out that 479 and you cover every single daily double, pick 4, pick 5, all the pick 3s, all the daily doubles, and the 2 big exactas, including a $1,379 exacta. So there it is. R. Stefani, thanks for addressing this, and thank you for allowing me to include here something I would have talked about in another video if considering exotic multi-race plays. You see the power here that we can do, damage we could do at a place like Turfway Park, especially at Turfway Park. You got a boxing or at least keying. You want to try and do something with multiple horses at a track like this, especially with the field sizes and the payouts. Do you want to be the one to skimp and say, I'm only going to use 2 horses in every race at a track where multiple times a card, long shots come in or come in the money? Do you want to leave them out and cut corners and say, oh my God, I used my 2 best selections, or in every race, and a couple times 3, and in the one I could have made $10,000, but I only went too deep in this leg and it blew it up. There's no reward, satisfaction in getting 4 out of 5 right or 3 out of 4 right and end up losing money just because you got cheap in one leg, especially when you can play it for 50 cents. So keep that in mind. R. Stefani, thanks for commenting and really bringing some excellent points forward to address here on this show. What about horse racing today? Horse racing today, we got a limited schedule today. It's early in the morning, and well, now it's past 6 o'clock. This video is just releasing it a little bit later, but I've already been through Parx. We're working on Mahoning, and we're also considering working on the third track. There's not much racing. We're on a limited schedule right now. Turf Paradise. This will be the first Turf Paradise show in a long time. It'll be a live stream with selections for those playing Turfway Park, and that's going to be the last track to be going off for today for the thoroughbred racing in America. So you got 3 tracks to choose from. So I'll be presenting Parx, and Parx for you Parx viewers out there. We will have a surprise for the Parx show, so stay tuned for that. And also Mahoning Valley and also Turfway Park. So we got to get back at it. Get back to the handicapping. Remember, Tim Hortons coffee. You can't go wrong with this stuff. Have a great start to the New Year's week, everybody. If you're playing today, safe betting, bet with your head not over it. You want to be playing on an emotionally even keel. Don't forget that. I like to say ice water in the veins when addressing the races. You don't want to get too high after a win, throw it around like Monopoly money, get reckless, get too down after a loss, running to the ATM machine, losing your rent payment or your car payment, or if you don't play at all, you want to be in the same place going into every race. Think about it. Think about it. When you're laying that wager down, when you're making that wagering, think in advance. How is this going to affect me? How am I going to handle this if I hit this really big? Or how am I going to handle this if I lose this race? So be prepared. If it swings you emotionally a little bit and you're out of sorts after a big win or a big loss, sit out a race. Maybe call it a day. Maybe cash out if you won really big. Hey, I made enough today, and let's enjoy it. And tomorrow's another day. So keep that in mind. Emotionally on an even keel when playing the race is not an emotional basket case. So best of luck today and win big. Have a great Monday, everybody. And remember, may the horse always be with you.